we're going to go ahead and keep walking. You're young and strong, and there will be plenty of nights later on in your journey where you can catch up on sleep in a real bed. A quest such as yours requires endurance. You will suffer for it physically, of course. The stars come out one by one above you, writing out names of the spirits, including your own, the camel. Continue your weary way. As you walk, you think of the crown. It calls you onward already, even though you have never seen it. It is as if it knows your name and is waiting for you, deep in the fortress of Mampang. But does it summon you to rescue it and restore the balance of power to the Vempire Alliance? Or does it summon you to your death and destruction, to place a seal on the power of the Archmage? Ooh. That was a weird noise. Okay, so see, like, that looks weird, that looks weird. And it might be wise to go to the mines. Although, thinking about it, mines are typically places for goblins. Might be worth it. Let's go ahead and head over to the next morning. Let's see. I think that once we get to Cristani, we'll probably call it there. So, let's go to the next morning. The second day of your journey begins in the morning cool. You feel the presence of your spirit, the camel, close nearby. Its form has changed since you left Analand, just as you have changed, but it's still walking beside you. That is very cool. In the temple, they taught you that a prayer to your spirit could heal disease, lift curses, even save you from certain death. A prayer now would perhaps be wise, but the spirits are not generous and decline to help often. Oh, so we have a pray button? Hold the phone. Let's go ahead and pray. It's a creature with long legs. Camel is self-sufficient and unflapping, but he rarely turns. Alright. Okay, well, let's go ahead. Your spirit has heard you. You receive no further help for some time. You're on your own. Thank you, Camel! You blessed creature! Okay. You feel yourself getting accustomed to the fetid air of these hills. You have now ascended several hundred feet and can expect to make excellent progress before the end of the day. As you crest the brow of a hill, you see something that makes you stop in your tracks. To the left is a clearing, and in the clearing are several poles, firmly planted in the ground. Atop each pole is a head! Let's look at the heads. The heads are of all kinds and ages. Some are recently fixed, while others have decayed, and some are nothing but skulls and hair. There are human heads, goblin heads, and one or two heads of creatures you do not recognize. All have sewn up eyes and mouths. A large X painted on a rock nearby is obviously intended as a warning not to venture any further. The head of the road forks left and right. You cannot be sure what path you are warned not to take. The right path continues to climb, and the left path winds down the side of the hill. I'm going to continue to climb, because I want to see the mines. The climb continues to the next hill for several hours until you are not far from the top, and the faint sound of bustling activity reaches you. Trampling feet, grunting voices, and the clanking of metal against rocks. There's something ahead, hidden by the ancient trees that line the slopes. Let's follow the sounds. Leave the path and continue through the wood. A short distance onward, you hide behind a tree and survey a clearing. A number of goblins are in the clearing, working at the mouth of an open cave. They trudge in and out of the opening, carrying large bowls in their arms, piled with glistening rocks and metallic nuggets. Let's go ahead and watch them work. You stay hidden, getting a sense of the scale of the operation. There are at least 30 goblins inside the cave, each coming out every few minutes or so with a new pail of stones. Then there are other goblins working in clearings with hammers, smashing the rocks into small pieces, extracting metals from inside, loading them into carts, and finally pushing the carts away down a wide track between the trees. There are too many goblins to create any kind of distractions, but they move away into the trees fairly often, and sometimes the cave is left unguarded. Try to slip into the cave. You creep closer, moving around the side of the hill, nearer to the entrance to the cave. Then when all is quiet, you seize your chance and race across the clearing to the mouth of the cave. Ooh, we're going, boys and girls! You pause a moment. And at the cave mouth, but no one has seen you. Following the passage cautiously, you move between the cool rock walls of the mine, passing and ignoring ladders that lead down into the clamoring heart of the mine, where hundreds of goblins sing as they work. Eventually, you reach a junction. Ooh. See, the left is kind of going over to here. But that's what they want you to think. We're gonna go right. You follow the passage to the right. It twists around deeper into the hillside and ends in a sealed wooden door. Ooh, okay. Trying the door might be... Try the door. Locked. Cast a spell. This is where I think Dole? D-O... Oh. Go ahead and cast Dop. You cast the spell. The door shudders as the lock turns over and the handle... Oh my god! Yeah, that might not be good. And then the handle moves of its own accord. On your guard, you watch as it swings open. The room behind is large and appears to be a storeroom of some kind. In one corner is a pile of blast rocks, and more rocks are held in the bucket of nearby. These flicker with a dull, glistening light. Most intriguing of all this is what stands at the center of the space. A mechanical apparatus, perhaps a press or a stonecutter, being operated by a large and powerful ogre. He does not, for a moment, seem to have noticed you. It's an ogre. I wasted one stamina. I'm approaching him. Boldly, you step out of the doorway and into the pool of candlelights that fill the room. The ogre stops working immediately and turns to face you, growling fiercely like the monster he is. You will not be able to reason with him. So now, let's see. He's already stupid! What would Gim do? Walk. Would create a shield. Creates an invisible wall. Got nothing for a K. What was the R? Rock. Requires stone dust. Ooh, you know what? I think I'd much rather this. Place a coin on your wrist and cast the spell. You feel the shield expand into position. The ogre will not even be able to see it. You're not a moment too slow either. The ogre is on you. So, I want to try to go big. Ooh, he tried for a weak attack. For a huge beast, the ogre moves with surprising speed. Its hammer swings up like an executioner's sword. Taking a chance, you levy your sword for its thick neck. As it tries to swat you like a fly with its enormous hammer, it staggers against the cave wall. It growls at you. Go ahead and defend. Ooh, that was the right call. You drop down, protecting yourself with your shield. Just in time, the ogre raises its hammer above its head and attempts to crush you in a single blow. But the shield saves you, and the monster looks on in confusion as his blow rebounds. The creature is too stupid to figure out what is happening. Its deep-set, stupid eyes follow your movements, not wanting to take a risk. Let's go for a 4. Okay, that's another 2. Stealing your courage, you move in, aiming to trap the ogre against the cave wall. Moving swiftly, you aim for his heart. It turns away, and though not seeing the blow, would stop it landing. But then you see it hide its, like, tough leather, and you can barely scratch it. The ogre stumbles, suddenly crashing into the machine, with almost buckles under the weight. It sniffs the air. We'll go ahead and defend one more. Expecting a storm, you raise your invisible shield. As the ogre jabs with his hammer, the force of your shield knocks you a few paces back across the floor. You are largely unscathed. Its dark eyes are watching you closely. Let's go ahead and do that. Taking a chance, you move forward, readying a forceful blow. You hurtle forwards. The ogre steps awkwardly aside. The ogre howls in rage and fear. It is a dumb creature and it cannot understand what is happening to it. It flaps its jaw at you and stamps its feet. We'll defend. You drop back, covering yourself behind your shield. The ogre hefts its hammer high and tries to squash you in a single stroke. The shield deflects the impact. You are mostly unscathed. So now that it used that much, it shouldn't have much more than a 6. Alright. Readying yourself, you move in. Preparing a heavy swing, you charge for your opponent. Then you swing again, and the sword cleaves into the ogre's hide. He gurgles unhappily as he slumps to the floor. You breathe a sigh of relief. You are still alive. Okay. While the ogre heaves its last breath, you investigate the room. Let's go ahead and search the table. We don't want to try out the machine just in case that it makes noises and alerts the goblins. You look through the heaps of rocks on the table to see if any catch your eye, but they all seem fairly ordinary. Moving to the corners of the room, you do a careful sweep. After a few minutes, you come across some soot-covered but solid. Wiping it with your tunic, you find a large gem, an emerald, of the size of your fist. It should be good for trade around the value of 10 gold pieces. You place it carefully into your bag. Let's try out the machine. Going over to the enormous machine, you try cranking the handle to see what happens, but you simply do not have the strength to make it move. Following the tubes and chutes of the machine, you discover a second large gem, which you take. You search the room thoroughly now. It's time to be going before someone comes to find the ogre. You head back to the fork in the passage. The sunlight from outside is very tempting. Now we could risk it for the biscuit and take the left fork. If anything, it's always a good idea to relatively not risk things. Creep back out of the cave and avoid being noticed, leaving the mines behind you and continue along a path with trees on either side. Alright. Follow a path that leads sharply downhill into a narrow valley in which a stream runs. There's no path along the bank, but there is a bridge. Why is this a thing? I don't know why this is a thing, but we're gonna do the stupid thing and cross it. Moving slowly with one hand to your sword hilt, expecting the boards to give way. At any minute, you enter cross. The bridge holds, and you reach the other bank quite safely. You now have a long walk ahead of you, along the ridge, and through a light covering of trees. Alright. Wee woo wee woo wee woo da wee woo wee dee dee ba boop. Dang it. Wee dee dee da doop boop ba doop boop boop ba ba da da ba da ba 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 da ba ba da ba wee. Let's go. I enjoy this. It's a nice little storytelling game. Kinda D&D-esque. Never played D&D though. It always sounds like a very fun thing to play, but I've just, never had that childhood. The path climbs ahead, again in a low hill, covering over the thick brushes and shrubs that snag it at your clothing. Halfway up, you hear a sound, twigs breaking. Freeze. You freeze as a large creature the size of a bear emerges directly in front of you. It has black and white fur, and long bushy tail that trails out behind. It growls menacingly. I would much rather try to edge around it. Perhaps if you were careful, you can slip around it. Let's try it for the right. You try to slip towards the bushes, but clearly something about you, what you carry attracts the beast's attention, as it sniffs the air and then moves towards you, its sharp teeth on display. You'll not be able to avoid a confrontation. The creature is a skunk bear! Okay. Let's see what we got. Ooh, S. Causes depression. No! 6. Ooh, let's see if we can kind of scare it. You cast a spell in a flash, 5 replicas of yourself appear in front of the creature. The confused beast lurches forward to attack one of them, and use the opening to escape, leaving your magic clones to fight your battle for you. The path leads down through another valley, and back up another hill. 2 hours passes. Wow! Okay, so 6 was very nice there. So let's go ahead and go here. Okay, the sun is now just past its zenith, and everywhere a dusty heat rises from the baked earth. Begin to think about where you will stay for a night. Another night of walking will leave you exhausted. But then you see a small village set into the hill. Let's go ahead and move on. I want to go into the village. You walk into the village. Young hill dwellers pass you and stare at your strained clothes. It's best not to look at people. These people are poor and live difficult lives. If your mission fails, they will not survive long, but they cannot survive long out here regardless. I want to go and rest at that inn. The village is small enough that you find an inn simply by walking around. The woman who runs the place stands at the doorway with her arms folded. Are you from the king, she demands. I'm just gonna say that I am... Am I on a mission from the king? I'm just gonna say I'm a mere traveler. The woman narrows her eyes at you. This is a guest house. The best in Cristani. Only guest stay. And any guest of mine knows it costs me 3 gold pieces to host a man overnight, and 2 to feed him. But it's all between friends. Okay, let's go ahead and give her an emerald. You produce one of your emeralds and wave it in front of the woman. Her eyes light up. I want you to treat me as you would a king, you declare. The woman nods quickly and snatches for the gem. Food is being served, and your room is upstairs. You can have mine, she cries, rushing away to batter at her husband to get cleaning. You pace through into the main room, where skunk bear stew is being served. As you eat, you can't help remember the terrible smelling beast you left dead on the path. And you head upstairs to bed. It is of serviceable comfort. Dreams are vivid once again. You are walking endlessly and the hills moving up down under your feet like a rippling sea. Every step exhausts you, but no step moves you forwards. There we go. Meanwhile, a tall black creature strides towards you, rather than a foul-smelling smoke. And in the distance, a deep voice is booming with laughter. The long, cruel fingers of one hand are curling around a metal frame of a crown. And with the other, he beckons you forward as if into a trap. Okay, you know what? We're gonna leave it there. So, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this little game here. And I'm going to see you all in another recording. I'll see you later. Bye. How do I save?